Running with people is huge. If you can find people that'll do one run a week with you, it will change the world. Consistency is key. You need to run multiple times a week, every week. Consistency is just like the name of the game.
Hey there, and welcome to Through Their Stride, a podcast where I tell the stories of the Texas Hill Country runners and run the routes that they know best. This podcast is more than about pace and mileage. It's about telling the stories about the runners you pass on the sidewalk on your daily commute. The ones who show up rain or shine, or in hot days like this. Each episode, I'll join a local runner on one of their favorite routes and hear the story of the why behind their run. This is Through Their Stride. I'm Sam Sutton. Let's get into it. Welcome to episode 1 of Through Their Strides. I'm Sam Sutton, and today I'm joined by my first local runner, Kaleb Dale. He just did 247 something and change.
247 change. Yeah, I'll take in change. It was like 50 something. 247 something. Yeah.
And the Boston Marathon. So that was pretty incredible. And I want to dig into that a little bit, but I don't want to start there.
Okay.
I'd like to kind of start just to kind of get to know you a little more, because I've only known you really through Strava, pickleball, and today's run. So this is kind of like the first time I'm really getting to meet you. So
I've told my wife that Strava is the only true social media.
Yeah.
It is, you're actually seeing like a real snippet of someone's life that's not fake. You get to see like the gross, like, Kaleb is slow today.
Yeah.
And, pops up on the feed. So.
Oh, Kaleb did a 6:55. That's way faster than I can do on that pace.
Kaleb has good days too. Kaleb has good days too.
So I guess my first question is, did you grow up here in Freddyville or?
Kind of. So I was born in Canada. My dad was in the oil industry. And so my older brother and I were both born up there and moved down to the hill country when we were quite young. We grew up in Loyal Valley, which is like 26 miles north of the city limits here. But like church and most things were in Fredericksburg, not in Mason. So the nature of small town Fredericksburg, I've always felt that is like, you're not really a local unless your parents and parents have been here. And so I wouldn't say that I feel like an outsider, but when some people are like, "Oh, Kaleb, you're a local," I'm like, no. I went to high school here, but my roots are not like that. My daddy's from Mississippi and my mom's from Oklahoma. But this for sure, like this neck of the woods is home for sure.
Awesome. And definitely like, it's kind of weird to call yourself a local. Like I've been here for like 6 years now. Yeah. And if I say, "Oh yeah, like I'm a local," I know someone will be like, "No, you're not."
That's not so. Like, I don't know if you know Griffin Cott, but he's a good buddy that he can, literally back to the boat in Galveston, his ancestry, he could trace back generations, all very German, which is a super cool thing. And I don't, like I said, I don't feel like an outsider to that. It's just a very unique thing to Fredericksburg that is not part of my heritage. But, so I'm not local in that way, but this is home for sure.
Awesome. And you mentioned to me earlier before we started running that you were going to college for soccer.
Yes. Yeah, soccer was my game growing up. I started playing when I was 5, and my brothers and I all played club ball in San Antonio and a lot here locally as well. Texas is a pretty tough place to go play college soccer. There's only really one D1 school in the state, SMU.
Really?
Yeah. We can, that's a totally different conversation, but I wanted to try to play D1 college ball. So I was sending out, back in the day, VHS tapes to coaches all over the place. I think I applied I applied to, I think, 13 schools my junior, senior year of high school. I ended up landing at University of Tulsa in Oklahoma. I walked on. I had kind of an arrangement with the coach there that he would let me walk on. They had a great D1 program. Walked on, made the team, played there for 2 years. And he made some major changes and cut like, I'm going to say 8 or 10 guys that one spring. So I started hunting for new schools. So I transferred to West Texas A&M, ended up at West Texas A&M for 4 years, redshirted my freshman year at Tulsa, and then had a medical redshirt at WT. WT is a D2 school.
Okay. Medical.
Yes. Yeah. I tore my knee 1 year. Not the end of the world. It gets way worse than what I did. But anyway, so 6 years of college soccer, ultimately. That was my thing. I was living soccer and going to school for fun. And then when that was done, I played a little bit more after I graduated, but it just is not the same. Especially, so I was kind of floating in and out of home, picking up different jobs and working, but I was never in a place. It was just kind of like, if my soccer career had definitely peaked. Trying to improve was kind of a mantra throughout, where it's like just getting better. And when it was like clear that was over for soccer, my intrigue for the game kind of tapered. And that's when running kind of came about.
Yeah. Yeah. So you also mentioned that you did a little cross country back in your day while you were also doing soccer.
Yeah. So I played high school soccer, ran track, the 100, 200, and 400.
Oh, okay.
I kicked for the football team one year. I joke and tell people I was a mercenary. I was not on the football team. And then I ran cross country my senior year as well. My parents both ran a little bit. They both trained for the San Francisco Marathon.
Oh, it's a beautiful one.
Yeah. Well, my mom got injured and my dad got a new job offer. So they never ran it.
Dang it.
So, but we would run the odd 5K around. So I was kind of exposed to running a little bit and enjoyed it well enough. Racing was fun. Running was, a necessary evil to get good at racing, but racing was always really fun. So that was kind of a little bit of a background. And then when soccer was done, it was something that I just kind of picked up doing that, as we discussed while running, you can continue getting better at, until late in life, depending on how much time you invest in it.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what has drawn me into running, I think, is that even while the athletic arc of soccer is done, if you're disciplined and just keep working at it, you can keep getting better. Boston was my 4th marathon, and I've PR'd at 3 out of those 4. Granted, you always PR at your first marathon, but I'll take it. I'm going to count it anyway. So that's fun to work hard and see the fruit of that is really cool.
What year was that you started to kind of find running, and how did you kind of rediscover?
I'll answer the first part or the second part first and then go back. I'd mentioned Dr. John Ramsey had run Boston, and I grew up around some of his boys. And one of them, Robert specifically, had encouraged me. He had run at least a half at the time. I'm not sure if he'd run a full or not. But he was like, Kaleb, you should totally go do it. You'd love it. I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I could do that without like training. It's hard for me to do something and just do it and not feel like I'm competing at, relatively as hard as I can and really pushing. And he's like, well, how fast do you feel like you would try to run one? And I was kind of thought, and I didn't really know what I was talking about. I just kind of threw out the number. I was like, I think I would try to break 3 hours.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm not sure I would try. Not saying that I would, but that I would probably set that as a goal or not bother. And that conversation kind of came and went. And then it was probably 2018 that there's a local half in Lukenbach. And I thought, well, I wonder if I can break 90 minutes in that one. And so I just started kind of like, I don't think I'd ever run more than like 6 or 7 miles. Once or twice I had, but not consistently ever. Mm-hmm. And so I just kind of like started progressing my long run of the week and running a little bit more consistently, and went and ran at Lukenbach and ran 129 high or something.
That's great.
It was great. Yeah, it was a great day. I remember it's an out and back. So it's very hilly. Love and at the turnaround, I was spot on 45 minutes. And I remember looking at my watch and being like, this is not happening.
Yeah.
And somehow like 3 or 4 miles later, I remember looking at the mile split. This is before I ever had a GPS watch.
Yeah.
Looking down at the mile split on my watch and being like, I'm under. How did this happen? But it was after I had done all the hill climbing and things kind of flattened back out. And I guess I was feeling good enough. Anyway, so that was encouraging. And that was when the spark kind of really lit. And I was like, I wonder if I could go run under 3 somewhere, and started targeting Houston.
Okay.
Super flat.
January.
Yep. Early
Which
in the year.
Is weird weather all the time.
It is. Yeah. It could be a crapshoot. It was the best weather marathon I've had out of the 4 for sure. So I trained off and on and then got more serious and ran it 2020. It was January 2020, before COVID.
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks before the race, went on a cruise with my in-laws and my wife. And I think we had 2 kids at the time. Maybe we have 4 now, and got super sick.
Oh, no.
Got this viral infection.
Was it COVID?
No, it was not COVID.
Okay.
It was not COVID. But I remember going down to the bottom of this cruise ship, and there's like this line of people that work there and me waiting to see like the one doctor and explaining like it feels like my ear is going to explode, and getting some meds and thinking these antibiotics are going to like take the edge off for sure. They will fatigue you. And so I was like, I can't keep taking these. Like what they gave me to take was going to take me through the race. And I was like, I'm definitely not going to run well if I keep taking these meds. And so I took, which is, you're totally not supposed to do this. Kids don't do this, but I took as much until I felt like reasonably under control, and then just ditched the rest. And I went and saw Dr. Ramsey. Said, here's what's going on. What should I do? This really cool relationship of him having run marathons, a number of them, and specifically Boston, and known me from young to kind of be able to say like, okay, I know what you're trying to do, Kaleb, and not just advise a random patient, but
yes.
And he said, Kaleb, you should postpone. He said, you should not run Houston. You should go run
so sick.
something a little bit later. Now at the time, obviously COVID was like floating around, but people were talking about it in Italy and whatnot. They weren't. It was not,
joking about it in
Right.
America.
It was people not taking it very seriously at the time. And I totally disobeyed. I thought about it and I was like, I left and thought about it. And I was like, John, I got to run this race. So I went and ran. And I remember Sarah, my wife, being at the half mark and seeing her cheering with the kids. And I was just like, I feel great. Like I've never run 13 miles. It feels so good.
Yeah.
And I had kind of trained with 2:55 in mind to try to kind of like buy a little bit of slush perhaps.
Yeah.
I was right on pace and had like the perfect, wall smack you in the face experience. I remember journaling about it later and thinking, okay, with about 10K to go, I'm just going to like drop the hammer and really push because I thought I might go under 2:55. I was feeling so good. And it was a little bit windy that day. So there were some open spots later in the race where it was like just straight in the face, 20-mile-an-hour wind. And that kind of took my sails out. But I remember getting to 10K and trying to push and slowing down at the same time.
No.
And I was like working 50% harder and going 20% slower. And I was like, oh, this is the thing that they talk about. And it just got worse. Now the wheels didn't totally come off. And I ran like 2:58 something. It started cramping like right in the last mile, but it was a great experience. And I did, they had just dropped the Boston qualifying time for my age group to 3 hours at the time. Now, having said that, you have to be enough under that BQ time to actually get a slot.
Yeah,
like 2:58 was not going to cut it.
Got to get the buffer.
Yeah. And I knew that. And I was not intending to go run Boston, but it was still kind of like this mark of, I'm going to go try to do that thing, which I was able to check that box. And that was pretty fun. And then it was like immediately COVID took over and everything was canceled. I don't know that they even had Boston that year.
No,
I think they did something virtual.
Fall, yeah, they did, and then they did
bumped
the next one's fall of 2021.
Yes, right. And then they let a much smaller number of people in. It was very messy.
Yeah.
So they kind of it was like one and done. I hurt so bad that weekend and for weeks after that I was like, never doing that again.
Yeah.
And then COVID, I kind of still ran some, but kind of let things go because there weren't races. So there was like that carrot of like training for something was gone for me for the most part. And then that was when I started running into those guys that ran a lot more. And then COVID kind of tapered and I was running with those guys and started getting more serious, if you will, into studying training and how to train well. And then I've run 3 since.
Nice.
With the last one being Boston. The second one that I ran was in Sugarland,
Sugarland. So you're doing them all in Houston.
Pretty much. Flat and fast, baby.
Yeah.
I'm cheating all the way.
Hey, I just did a downhill marathon in Utah.
Yeah, there's no downhill ones. But Sugarland, yeah, it was the Woodlands, Sugarland, and Houston. I will also say that, like, other than you do Austin or I guess San Antonio. What is the San Antonio one called?
Well, it was rock and roll, but now it's just I think it's now this year going to be just the San Antonio marathon.
Which is both are quite hilly, which I don't mind running. But every time that I've run one so far, I've been trying to PR. And I wouldn't necessarily expect to do that at Austin. I'll take flat and good weather if I can get it. Anyway, Sugarland, weather was terrible. I had some injury issues in the block building up to that. Cracked hard. It was a fun experience, relatively small, $1,000 cash prize for the winner. And the race started out slow enough. Aaron Coltrane, my buddy, was at that one as well. And the race started out slow enough that we were like looking at each other like, can we do this? Should we go to the front? And so we did. And we led that race for 18 miles.
Whoa.
And I thought like I might win money running. This is crazy.
Get the goosebumps?
Yeah, it was
I'm getting
special. Yeah. However, at like mile 15, I remember pouring a cup of water over my head because it was like 80 degrees and super humid. Rained twice during the race. And just watching salt just kind of pour down. Yeah. And I was like, uh-oh.
I'm cooked.
Yeah. The time clock. It's going to run out. And 18 is when I started cramping really bad, hamstrings. And so from then it was like cramp up, stop, stretch, walk, jog, cramp up. So I did that to finish. It was like 3 something. I honestly couldn't even tell you, but.
And this is your second.
That was my second one. Yeah. And then the following year ran the Woodlands again with Aaron. He had a family connection there. Great race, great event, hot day, very humid as well. I say hot, running hot. So it cracked 80, I think.
Well, that's hot.
Yeah, for a marathon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also like 99% humidity at the start. Like you can feel the drizzle coming down. So my body doesn't handle that particularly well. I'm not sure who does. But yeah, right. Yeah. It's just if you're going like, oh, I'm going to go like run really aggressively. It's like, well, you have to really temper your effort and that kind of environment. So I ran kind of my pace for 5 or 6 miles there. And then I remember just clicking my watch over to heart rate and just watching and saying like 161. That's my mark. I'm trying to not cross over.
Yeah.
Because from training, I remember like, doing a lot of mile repeats and being like, that was about where I could say the top of my threshold will get where problems would start to happen.
Yeah.
So that worked relatively well. And I ran 254 there.
Yeah.
And that was the same year that I aged up categories for Boston, I think. So the qualifying time went from 3 to 305 and ran 254. So I was like, well, that's surely in if I want to go run.
Yeah.
And decided to bite the bullet and go do it.
Awesome.
Boston Marathon.
247.
247.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we'll get into that now. And then I got some other questions as well. But first, Boston, what's the experience like as someone who's literally never been there? And yeah.
I hadn't either. Well, I didn't do much besides race stuff. So I had some friends that were like, what'd you go do in Boston? And I was like, I ate, slept, and ran a race, man. Because the Boston Marathon to me is like, that was the total reason to go there.
Yeah, it's like the race of races.
Yes. And so I'm going to soak up all of that experience without trying to get cooked walking around because the expo's crazy. There's, running stuff going on everywhere. If you're into the running scene, there's pros and influencers and shoe reviewers, everybody all over the place. You see faces that you recognize from the internet, which is a pretty fun thing.
There's a couple of influencers I follow who are there.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody's there. So that environment is lots of fun. I hired a coach for that training block. First time to do that. Reed Fisher is a great professional marathoner who also coaches, which is kind of rare. Not a lot of pros also coach.
Yeah.
And he keeps a relatively small roster, but he had some slots that opened up right as I was about to start training. And I just threw my name in the hat and got lucky ultimately.
Yeah.
And he also was racing Boston. So getting to kind of build a little bit of a relationship with him was really cool going up to that race. It very international. So that's a pretty cool environment. It's almost like being in an airport and that there's just like people from all over there.
So many shapes and sizes.
That's right. And everybody's got a crew. I mean, that was something that my wife pointed out is that like for every runner, there's probably like 8 or 9 people that are just there to experience the thing that's with them. I forget the specific numbers of people that are there just to watch the race, but it's crazy. There's a lot of runners and it's crazy amount of people that are there just to participate. So that is maybe the most unique rarity of a running experience is that running is kind of niche. There's not that many people that really appreciate it that are going to go to a race just to watch, but Boston is different.
Yeah.
It's kind of like going to a professional sporting event where there's just tons of fans that are just fans to watch the event. And that's weird.
Yeah.
For running to just go and have like strangers lining the streets for 26 miles.
It's amazing.
3 people deep in most cases, little kids that are, I remember like the first few miles slapping hands with so many kids in the
love
row.
that.
I'm like, I can't do this for a marathon. I'm tired, but also feeling like obligated.
I have to do this.
Yeah, that's right. These little kids that are out here that are getting a taste of running and wanting to just, make contact with somebody that's doing the thing.
Yeah.
So all of that's pretty cool. Yeah. Very humbling. Yeah. The course is great. All the people that are there are all like clearly very grateful to participate. So the vibes are just like all time high.
Yeah.
From a runner's perspective, I would say it's not really a runner's race in that you have to get up early, go wait in line to get on a bus, to go wait in line, to go to the bathroom in a small field.
It's like a spectacle.
Warming up is not a thing. Security's super tight because of the stuff that's happened there over the years. Then you go like walk down a tiny thin space to get in a corral. The first jogging I did that morning was probably about 10 yards before the start line.
Wow.
And it's just all, so you're like, you've been sitting around carrying food and water with you to try to stay hydrated and fueled. So the logistics are not great to like have a great day.
Yeah.
And so training and thinking I'm going to try and PR by a lot was my goal for the day. Like as the day wore on, I was like, this is tricky. This is going to be tough just to be in a good position to do that. But then it is very downhill up front, super congested, which is, the atmosphere is just electric. It's so fun to be like, come over a hill, literally see a mile straight away.
That's amazing.
It's just full of heads bobbing up and down. It's pretty compelling experience to be doing that with so many people. And at the same time, be like, I'm running this pace. And all I'm doing is dodging ankles. And so until like mile 10, it was that way. And then it kind of thinned out and like you could kind of like pick your side of the road and run a little bit. But generally speaking, by far the best single running experience I've ever had, for sure.
That's awesome.
Hands down. It's a, I won't say must do, but if you have the opportunity, it's a definitely.
It's a great place to go. Yeah,
it's great. Or even just to experience. Like if I had a friend that, like if you qualified, we're like, Kaleb, you come? I'd be like, probably. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Noted.
Because it's fun to do.
Yeah.
Fun to be around the atmosphere. And I mean, like big companies releasing new shoes and the whole nine.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
So I guess I didn't realize that you were so early on in the running, running. As far as you starting out in 2018, that's not too far. And you started pretty fast. I mean, like...
Yeah, so I would say, Sam, that I think soccer is maybe one of the best backgrounds you can have for running that's not running.
I was going to say that because there's a guy I follow, his name is Nico Felice, and he was a college soccer player like you were. Yeah. And he's like a sub 3 hour marathoner consistently.
Yeah, I was routinely like one of the fittest guys on the soccer team. Yeah. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily universal. There's a lot of ways to play soccer. And there's some guys that don't like to run, that are great soccer players.
Yeah.
But if you like to work, and I did, then soccer is great. And it also is like building a lot of your stabilizer muscles, because you're not just running straight. And so you're building your VO2 max like crazy and working muscles in a really healthy way. So that I think if you turn over into just running, it's a pretty good transition. It's not the same as guys that like ran cross country and have like an incredible aerobic base. It's not, you can't compare it to that, but it still is a great background, I think, for running. Yeah. So it was not,
but I mean, 247, that ain't jogging.
Like, no, that was good.
Like you're knocking on.
Yeah. I was hoping, honestly, Sam, I was training with the hope of like, if everything lines up, I could get under 240. When the race started, even before the race started, I was like, that's not in the cards anymore. Like I can already tell just from like the congestion, the way that the morning went, I was like, it's not going to happen. If I would have guessed, I think I would have thought that I was going to be able to kick better in late miles and probably do like 245, 244 high. I think that's what I would have guessed. So some of it was like over preparation. I would say that and also you could say that I'm a bit notorious for like aiming pretty high.
So am I.
But I think that gives you room to like, PR and still PR. Like I would say if your B goal for a race is PRing, like you're in a great place.
Yeah.
And that's been pretty much the case every time that I've gone out for a half or a full. I ran the Austin International, used to be Austin 3M in the spring, which was kind of a prep for Boston because the Austin International is very downhill as well. I don't know if you've ever considered running that one, but
I didn't consider it until this year. And then I saw a lot of clips of it and I was like, that looks really cool. And my friend, I don't know if you know, Harper Keel.
I know, yes. So I follow again Strava.
Yep.
Yeah.
Social media.
Yes, the real social media.
Yeah.
Harper via that.
Yeah, I think he ran that one. I know he also ran the Austin half, so maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Well, the Austin International is like notoriously fast. It's like almost exclusively downhill. There's a couple bumps in the last mile and a half, maybe, but it's quick. A lot of like gentle, very runnable downhill stuff, which is very similar to the first half of Boston. So that was kind of my strategy there. But it was kind of the same. I ended up getting bronchitis the week before running that one, but still PR'd. I mean, it's just very fast.
Yeah.
It was kind of the same of like my goal for the race was not to PR because I was like, I'm definitely going to PR because I'd also not like tried to run a fast half. I'd run Lukenbach a couple times.
Yeah. I love that one.
And other than that, my half marathon PR was like part of the Woodlands Marathon.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, we could definitely do better than that. But it's a good one. I would say it's for sure worth doing.
Awesome.
The environment for that one was really good as well. A lot of people that are like trying to run fast and running is just that way though also.
Yeah.
Especially the longer distances is that people's attitudes are super positive. I think that it's very hard to go run 13, 20 or longer miles for the wrong reasons.
Right.
Like people, it's like a humbling activity. So people are just generically pretty positive and encouraging of other people that are out there.
So I want to get into a little bit about your running journey, individual running journey. What is your kind of end goal? Do you have an end goal?
No, I do feel like, so like I mentioned before, I've got 4 kids that are 8, 6, 4, 2 right now.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. As they're getting older, I feel like the time that I have to really invest in running is starting to kind of shut down because they're starting to get involved in stuff. And so our family's efforts will probably start to pivot a little bit more towards that.
Yeah.
And so like training for Boston, I think my biggest week was like 76 miles maybe. And that just takes a lot of time.
It does.
And so being able to invest that kind of time in running is probably relatively short-lived would be my guess. So if I didn't run another marathon, I'd be okay.
Yeah. I mean, you got to Boston, so.
Yeah. Also, I would love to crack 240. So I've toyed with, so at 247 Boston, The other two majors in the US are New York and Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get a lottery ticket to get into those, but you can also qualify into those. And 247 would qualify into both of those.
Okay.
So I am considering applying for one of those.
For like next year?
For 2026.
Yeah.
So both of those are fall marathons, which would be tough to prep for because that means like training now, which is hot, Texas. To do that kind of volume. But so maybe that, and if that was the case, I might try to push for getting under 240, sneaking under 240.
That'd be cool.
And I think that would be kind of a lifetime achievement that I would probably hang my hat on.
Yeah.
But who knows? I mean, I would say there's not any big like specific marker, but if you twist my arm, I would say that would be the thing. If I got under 240, I think I would say I'm not going to try to, bother to do anything faster than that.
Yeah.
It would just be things that were exciting and fun.
Yeah.
And honestly, as you kind of alluded to, is running with people is half of the game, I think.
Yeah.
A good buddy of mine that we talked about briefly before, Aaron Coulterjean, we didn't really know each other, started running together. And I remember being on a long run with Aaron and being like, Aaron, other than my wife, I don't spend time talking to anyone more than you.
Yeah.
And it's just because we're like, you do like a 2.5 hour long run.
And it kind of makes the miles more bearable.
Way better.
Yeah.
And so you run like once on Thursdays, once on Saturdays. And I'm like, I spend 4.5 hours talking to Aaron every week. I don't do that with anybody but my wife. And we just talk about everything. I mean, you're just, plodding down the road. You talk about everything. Yeah, that makes running way more fun. Running by itself can also be really fun. You can kind of get lost.
Especially if you have a good podcast or playlist.
For
or
sure.
something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or even just like getting out away from stuff and getting out to places on foot that you wouldn't typically go to.
Yeah.
It's something special.
My favorite route here in town to do that and to kind of get lost and like in your own is I do all of my 20 milers from Harper to Kerrville.
Oh, interesting.
So there's a back road, kind of like a back road highway, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know those roads back there very well.
Yeah, and it goes straight from Harper to downtown Kerrville.
That's great.
And, it's 20 miles. And
that's great.
It's basically all downhill. There's a couple of uphills.
And then you get picked up on the...
Yeah, Monica will pick me up.
Okay.
And we'll drive back home to Fred. But she's the one who recommended it to me. And at first I was like, no, I don't want to go that far for a run. Yeah. But I was wanting to do something a little bit different scenery.
It's adventurous. Yeah. It's a fun thing to like go somewhere on your feet.
Yeah.
I ran, so living in Low Valley, I'd always wanted to run that. And there was one morning that Aaron and I and Cody Carnett met at the bike shop, Jack and Adams.
Yep.
And ran out to my house where I now live. And it was 26.3 miles. And so I dubbed it the unofficial Loyal Valley Ultra Marathon. Ultra, baby. 26.3.
Yeah.
That's an ultra. And
you get over that too.
That's right. And I've never done it since. I've always thought like, I'll probably do this like every other year. So no, one was probably enough, but it's a fun thing to just like keep trucking on your feet. It reframes your brain about a lot of life things, suffering and just a lot of things. It's great.
Nice. So my next question is you know a lot of runners here in town, like you said, following people on on Strava, social media. And you were also doing a Fredericksburg Running Club for a while.
Yeah, it lasted for a good chunk of years. It's funny, if I was, like when I've had friends that were like, oh, I think I want to start one up. You had mentioned that as well. It seems like to me, the success of a running group is like you need 2 or 3 champions of the run club that are like going to ride or die, be there. And there was a crew that was like that. And there was a time that it started with like 2 or 3 of us. An old high school buddy of mine was one of the first ones. I'm not even sure where he is. Nick the Stick. Have you ever met Nick the Stick, Greg? That was his high school nickname. He's not as much of a stick as he used to be. He used to be a real stick, but he was a great runner. He and I think Aaron might have been early on, and Josh Allen. It morphed totally over time, but like a few years later, I remember there being a run where there was like 17, 18 people, and that was for sure the peak.
That's awesome.
But it was great. It was electric. I mean, like 5:30 in the morning, getting that many people out. Everybody, again, it's like you don't get up at 5 a.m. to go run unless you got like a smile on your face.
Yeah.
So, or at least when you get to the other people that are all doing that thing, it's hard not to be, you know, pretty energized. And then people started moving and it just kind of faded because I would say that the champions were all like not necessarily as committed. I moved, Aaron moved.
Yeah.
And then it was like, I'm not going to get up, at 4:30 to drive into town for maybe nobody to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So it had its arc, which is kind of sad, but that seems to be true. Like I remember connecting with some folks that had a run club going in the 70s.
Yes.
When they had heard about what we were doing, they were like, oh, we used to have, this run club and we used to run Main Street like every Wednesday or whatever. So there's definitely been a number of them that spring up and then disappear. And that seems to be generally the name of the game, especially in a small town.
Yeah.
Like The other natural arc is like most of the time people are ready to run in the spring and late fall.
Yeah.
But dead of winter and in the summer,
no one wants to unless you're really committed.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. The number of people that are willing is much smaller. So the numbers, that's what I say is if you had like a few champions that would do it year round, then the numbers could swell and shrink and swell and shrink and still work.
Yeah. But you are, I mean, it seems like you are starting to build a little community of runners through Strava and a lot of people who kind of know you.
For sure. Well, Strava does that, I think, just naturally. I mean, that's one way that I keep track of some old friends that's, I would say, even more authentic than, this is also a pretty masculine way of communicating, but like an old buddy from Amarillo that I'll just see his runs on Strava, not talk to him but once a year.
Yeah.
But feel very connected. Yeah. Because I could just look at Strava and be like, I know how Thomas is doing.
Yep.
And not need to really communicate with him verbally at all. So, yeah, for sure that is true. And you also just connect with people that are doing some of the same things. Like at Boston, I would say this is true of any big race, but definitely at stuff like Boston, you meet people and, you'll see people that finished. And I don't know if you do the, what is the Strava feature? Flybys. Not everybody has it turned on. But you can see people that were like running right around where you were.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's super cool feature. It's kind of, you have to look it up. It's if you turn it on, you have to actively turn it on, but then you can go look at any of your runs and it'll show you anybody that crossed over your path and it'll show you like the percentage of overlap. So if you ran past somebody on a run, let's say we did our run, saw somebody running against us.
Yeah.
If they had flybys turned on, we could go look at our run and it would show their profile and where they ran and all their routes. Super cool. I think it's one of the coolest features of Strava. I think some people don't love it because it, like if you want more privacy, then you're not going to turn that stuff on.
No.
But to me, it's like one of the coolest things about Strava to be able to just go like find people that you saw on the street and be like, I want to meet that person.
Yeah. And
then you just go look up and be like, I was around 20 minutes in, who was around? And you can literally see those people.
That's neat.
So, yeah. And I would say, honestly, Sam, also it is inspiring. Running is hard.
It is
uncomfortable. And so, getting on something like Strava and seeing people get after it when it's hot is like, okay, I want to be that guy.
Not alone in this.
I want to be that guy that's going to go out and do it anyway.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard and I'm going to feel slow for the next 3 months. But if I buckle up and do it, when it cools off in November and December, I'm going to be fit.
Yeah.
And it's going to be great.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I would say that it's like, if I hadn't ever, like if Robert Ramsey had never said, Kaleb, you should go run a half or a full, I'd have never done it. For sure, I would have never done it. And had I not run into Cody and Aaron and a handful of other people, John Winstead, I mentioned, Jackie, I don't know if you know Jackie Mancuso.
I know of her. I think I met her actually on a run club situation.
Yes, yeah. She doesn't run as much as she used to, but she was, I mean, when she was training a lot, super fast. Evan Took has moved now since, another great guy.
I know him,
Anyway, it's also a great sport to be able to set a mark and then just be able to metric, I'm getting closer to that mark, closer to that mark, closer to that mark.
Yeah.
And that is good for my brain. I would say good for my soul, especially in a stage of life that's just jam-packed with work and kids and a lot of things buzzing around.
Yeah.
Running kind of is just like, we'll kind of settle down because you lace up the shoes and get on the road and like, you're not answering the phone, you know, you don't need to engage with whatever mess is going on.
It's the best because you're just out in nature, like with yourself and your thoughts.
Right. And so that it really helps kind of mellow out my days to get, 30, 45 minutes or an hour out on the road.
Cool. And then, my next question is, I mean, as someone who started in 2018, kind of right before the running craze really started to take off again, nationally and internationally, but locally, how have you seen the running space grow? And
that's a good question, Sam. I would say Fredericksburg is a funny place because it's a tourist place. You see these ebbs and flows, and I'll see people running, and I'm like, who's that guy? I want to, meet that person. And they may be in for the weekend, right? Yeah. It's more likely than not that they're
Florida or something.
Yeah, that's right. So it's a bit hard to say. I would say that there's more people that are like observing running for sure. Like there's some guys that I met through my brother, one of my younger brothers, And Jeff Graham. Have you met Jeff Graham?
Yeah. So I don't think I've met him. He's another person that I've seen, I think, on Strava.
You should meet him.
Yeah.
Good dude. He and his wife just had twins not that long ago, and he's still getting out there and getting after it. But he organized a group of guys to do like a relay.
Marathon relay, right?
Right. Yeah. And I remember another buddy of ours that doesn't run, he mentioned it to me, and he's like, have you heard about this thing? I said, yeah. I said, that's not happening. I'm like, I don't know how fast, because the idea is you run 400s at marathon world record pace, and you just keep doing the baton off and try to break the
Can't
marathon.
do it.
It's so fast. And I think people don't realize how fast. They think marathon world record, it's a marathon. It can't be that fast. It is.
It's a 4 minute something mile.
Incredibly fast.
Yeah.
And so as soon as I heard about it, I was like, that's not happening. I was like,
I know some friends who
at the
did
time,
it.
I was like, I don't know how fast Jeff is, but I was like, there's no way you can get that many guys that are that fast to do it. I was like, I maybe can like pull my weight. Maybe.
Yeah.
And I was in the middle of a marathon block. So I was like, I'm pretty fit and I'm not sure I can do it. There's no way you're going to, get like 8 or 10 or 12 guys that are, but having said that, there's a bunch of guys that he got together that don't run really.
Yeah.
That were still like about it.
Yeah.
And so that's what I would point to as an example of like the popularity in running is, I think 15 years ago, no way. Like
no one would have
really
done that.
Really tough to get guys even to like the marathon world record. Who cares? Who is Eliud Kipchoge?
Yeah.
Which that record has since been broken, I suppose. But it just wouldn't have been really a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now you can get together guys who are just kind of at least observing running, and some of them are participating in it a little bit. And that's super cool.
Yeah.
And because running is just like a generally, I would say, underappreciated sport in the U.S. anyway.
Yeah.
And so seeing like its visibility being a little bit higher, people getting out in the spring and the fall, and running some more is fun. Feeling like I can, goad some people into coming out on some runs with me every once in a while, and they might say yes.
Yeah. If you ever ask me, I'll definitely.
Yes. Right.
Be your guy.
Those type of things are great. I wouldn't. Fredericksburg is just not big enough for there to be like a real groundswell, I don't think.
Yeah.
I've got a buddy that I went to college with in Tulsa who lives in Florida. And I remember he would like jumped into a small run club about the same time that the run club that we were doing was getting some legs. And I was watching theirs grow and being like, yeah, we need to do that. But he's like just outside of Orlando or something.
Yeah.
And so ours kind of hit the arc and started to fade. And theirs is like 150, 200 people on a weekend, probably.
Wow. Still going?
Oh yeah. Huge. Now I think that they've like formed a nonprofit and are like,
cool.
Things like making contracts with brands that are like, I want to connect with all these people that care about running.
Yeah. So they
they've
really worked hard.
Like, hit the next level, had some people that were really hustling it. So it can make it, but I would just say that Fredericksburg probably is too small of a pool, I think.
I mean, you know a lot of people, it sounds like, though.
Yeah, but gathering them all at one point in time,
is tough.
Being like, hey, let's all meet.
Tough deal.
Because I've tried to kind of, like when you reached out at one point in time and said, hey, do you think we could do this thing again? And I started trying to kind of shake the bushes and get people going again. And so, and a lot of people are like, yes, let's do it. But this person would say like Thursdays at 5 a.m. and they'd be like, well, I can't do mornings. And it just like, it just couldn't happen. It was like getting everybody together all at one time was difficult.
Yeah.
Which is also, to be fair to runners, like that's kind of one of the reasons that I got into running as opposed to other things is that team sports, you got to find a time that you're meeting up with everybody.
Yeah.
And so soccer was kind of like, meh, I can't go, start playing soccer games at 10 p.m. when I got
Bernie or something.
That's right.
Yeah.
Whereas running, I can run whenever by myself.
Put shoes on.
That's right.
Get out the door.
Right. It didn't work in the morning. I can do it at lunch. Didn't work at lunch. I can do it at 10 p.m. after my kids go to bed, not ideal, but you can
done it. Yeah.
make it work. Yeah. Right. And so I think everybody kind of does running that way. So getting everybody to
do it all
link
at once
up is
tough.
It's a bit tricky. So we'll see. I would love for something like that to happen again and there be like a real groundswell. And I think it could happen.
Yeah.
I just think that I'm not in the phase of life where I could be a champion for such a thing. Yeah. Which is a bit sad, but at the same time, I love my wife and kids.
Yeah.
So
you got a great family.
Yeah, that's right.
And so we're coming up on 45 minutes and I know we ran 30
I was going to say, how much
so,
editing are you going to do?
Yeah. But I guess my last few questions are, we chose this route starting at Hill Country Church and we ran Crabapple.
Yes.
And then kind of around
the neighborhoods close to Adam Street. And this is kind of a route that I used to run a lot because I used to live just over there.
Okay.
And what do you like most about it? And how did you discover it?
Well, working here at this church. So this, I would say, I like this side of town because it's not very active.
No.
So it's easy to run and not feel like I'm getting in people's way.
Yeah.
And not be bothered by having to cross major streets. I think that's something that like, it's not the end of the world, but like crossing Milam, crossing Main, crossing Adams further down, just kind of like slows things down. I'd like to keep going. So it's easy to do loops over here and never stop, never be bothered. And if there's people, you just kind of like run in the gutter for a little bit and it's not a big deal. And this is an easy spot for me to park.
Yeah.
And I got keys. So I got bathroom, I got water, I got everything right in here. Another favorite, I don't know if you've done this one, Sam, but when I would run workouts, I forget what the name of the neighborhood is, but it's over behind the post office. And it's just a little loop.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I would go run workouts in there forever. I'm sure I've ticked off a bunch of people that live there, but that loop is almost exactly 800 meters.
Really?
Yeah, if you're on the outside of the loop anyway. And it's like a relatively new neighborhood. So there's always somebody building. So there's always a porta potty.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
And so I just go and I'd do, mile repeats, whatever the workouts were. It was like every Wednesday I was over there during a marathon block. And that's also it's like 2 miles roughly from here.
Yeah.
So I get in, warm up, work out, get back over here. Easy spot to park and kind of be out of everybody's way.
Yeah.
So that's why, because I live kind of on the other side of town when we were living in town. And everything, again, don't hear me complaining, but you got to cross some major street, probably multiple ones to get anywhere. And so to be able to like build in a rhythm or do, anything that's, I'm going to run a mile straight at X pace is like, well, I can't run into a highway. So it was either like, just go sell your soul to the track and hope there was nobody there and run circles forever, which I've done.
Oh yeah. Me too.
I think Houston Marathon training block, my last big training workout, I think I did 17 miles on the track. And just like audio book in and just like blanked out. And
which is actually not that bad.
It's not as bad
when you're in the zone.
People make it seem like it's way worse. It is. It actually gets kind of entertaining. It's like being on a treadmill in a gym to watch people like come in, think and leave. Another person comes in, leaves, and you're still just going.
I'll be here when you get back.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Sit here. Yeah, it's not as bad as it seems. I mean, it's all running and some. I wouldn't do it all the time, but or River Road is another favorite.
Oh, I got a funny story about that one.
Yeah.
So that's right next to Highway 16.
Yes.
So I was doing a run where I live close to the hospital.
Yes.
And I ran some of the back roads, Ivydale and everything. And then there's a point where I forgot what the road's called, but it spits out onto 16 and then you cross and go to River Road.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And if you go left on that road, it'll take you to Washington Street.
Okay.
When you take a left on Washington, take you back to town.
Right.
So I took a right once and it spat me back on a highway.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm on Washington.
Yeah. But you're not.
I run 7 miles from there. And then I'm done and I'm like walking, thinking I'm walking close to town.
Yeah.
And I call my wife and I'm like, can you come pick me up? And she was like, oh yeah. And I was like, I'm on Washington. I should be getting close to the theater at this point.
Right.
She comes to pick me up. She keeps going. She's like, can you like send a
ping, GPS ping or something?
Yeah. And she was like, cause I'm still not seeing you. I was like, well, I guess I'm further out than I thought, but yeah, I'll send you a ping.
Right.
And I open it and I'm like close to Kerrville. And I'm like, that can't be.
Right.
And so, but then I look at my Strava line and
like,
sure enough, I've been running to Kerrville.
Yeah, that's right.
Not even thinking I'm doing it.
Yeah, that's right.
So you have to know where you're going.
Yeah.
Anyways.
That's what I would, this lap for Boston, because River Road's a little hilly. It's not crazy, but I would park at the race barn parking lot and then go out, what's that straight road that goes behind the Cotton Gin? Anyway, I would take back there to get to River Road and then just hot lap back and forth, whatever it took, and then get back into town. And River Road's really nice. Also not super busy most of the time.
Pretty.
Yeah. So generally I would say that like my route choice is based on being able to run without, distraction. Yeah. There would be one exception that it was like a run club favorite that we would do at least once a month if we hadn't hit it. And we called it the Tour de Hills. And we would do the 3, they're not that big, but the 3 big hills in town.
Yeah.
We would do Windcrest.
Yep.
We would do Cross Mountain. And then we would come over and do Crabapple and go. If you go up Crabapple and then there's another road that hooks around to the top, you can go all the way back up there and it gets really steep towards the top. So we would do all 3 of those.
That's fun.
And that would be, if we started at the bike shop, I think we'd end up doing like 8.5 or 9 to do all 3 of those. And that was always kind of like would mix up like which order we would do them in. It was kind of like, what are we doing today?
Yeah.
And somebody would, inevitably be like, we haven't done Tour de Hills in a while. And we'd be like, no. Okay. And then we go do it. It's kind of like a fun, like hard work. That was kind of like a routine, fun thing.
Yeah. Have you ever attempted to do the Willow City Loop?
No, I don't run. I've never run out that way.
Me neither. I got my mom to bike it once.
Okay. Yep.
And she like nearly died on the hills.
Yeah. I did this is not even that close to that, but off of Cherry Mountain Loop on Old Gyp Mine Road. I did this last block. I did some running back there as well. Again, it was just really strategic, like trying to hit hills that were about the same grade as Heartbreak Hill in Boston.
Oh, good idea.
And so it was kind of some strategic, like I'm doing downhill for a 2-mile stretch, back uphill, downhill for 2 more, and then back up and then back up.
Yeah.
So that was just kind of like looking around and saying like, where can I find hills that are relatively steady gradient and long to be able, which is surprisingly tricky. You'd think like hill country, but the hills are just like so up and down that it's like you do a hill, but it's like, I don't know, half mile and it's over.
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm going to go run uphill for 2 miles straight. Is like, where are you going to do that?
Yeah.
There's really not that many spots.
No, it's all rolling.
Yeah. Right. So, there were some specifics that it was like, but I would say it was very helpful. Like I said, Boston was the most even splits that I've ever run for a marathon. And I think a lot of that was, Reed had kind of programmed in some specificity of like, we're doing, long run with race pace splits, but we're doing this specifically on these types of hills to simulate Boston, and do like some kind of junk work early in a long run to kind of build in some fatigue to then do hills.
Yeah.
It also was a particularly windy spring.
It really was.
It
like
really
25 miles an hour.
There was some rough.
And then we got that bad fire.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say that like 80% of my long, hard days were like physically just very demanding days to go out and run. And I would just like wake up and be like, today? What? So that was extra difficult.
Hope we don't get that next year.
Oh, I know. Yeah. It was an odd year in that regard, I think. That it was particularly difficult to, I remember like getting on the phone with Reed and being like, dude, I think I ran this right, but like the splits are all over the place because I'm doing these hills that you've prescribed. And also there's like 25-mile-an-hour winds straight in my face sometimes. Like,
what are you going to do?
Yeah. What are you going to do? Now, I will say Boston also, we had good weather in that regard, but it's point to point and you're heading to the ocean. So it is not uncommon at all for there to be a headwind coming off the ocean that you're running straight into. The whole thing, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's totally possible to be like, you're getting 15, 20-mile-an-hour winds the entire time. Now, you're running in the midst of a bunch of people. So it was a little bit breezy. I think it was like 8 to 10 miles an hour. And it kind of changed. We were kind of getting a side wind and then it changed to a headwind towards the end.
Yeah.
I only noticed it like very briefly at one moment in the race, but you're literally just in a pack. So it kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Where you could hear the elites that are like running out, stretched out by themselves by the end.
Yeah.
That were kind of like, I did notice the wind a little bit, but it was nothing like training. Training was brutal. For that reason, I was just like, not interested.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of things I'm like, I'm not sure why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I could give up running today and be totally satisfied. And then on the other side of the coin, being like, after the arc is done, it's totally worth it.
Yeah.
Great, terrible memories.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then my next question is for somebody who's just starting out here, in running and kind of dipping their toes.
Yes.
But they think they maybe want to train for a marathon and kind of go that route. What would you tell them?
Well, I would say there's a a few small things that I kind of lucked into accidentally, which that we've already touched on, which is running with people is huge. There are some people that are loners and can do it by themselves. Good for you. But if you can find people that'll do one run a week with you, it will change the world. As far as just your palate for being able to do the repetition, would be the second thing, is that consistency is key. The way that I kind of describe in my experience to people and my conversations with people that have run way more than I have is that if you've gotten to a certain level of fitness, it's easier to get there again than it is to build to that place. But at the same time, if you don't run at all for a month or two, you'll lose a lot.
Yes.
You don't run for like a week, you may not lose anything, but if you want, it's just consistently, you need to run multiple times a week, every week. Now, not to like burn yourself into the ground. You can overdo it pretty quickly too, but consistency is just like the name of the game. It's a little bit monotonous. And so if you can wrap your mind around the grind of that thing of my goals might be 3 to 5 years down the road, not
Tomorrow.
3 to 5 months down the road.
Yeah.
Right? It's easy to say like, oh, I'm going to go run this marathon. I'm going to do a 12-week training block. I say easy. Even that is difficult, and I'm going to run this fast at this marathon. You may have to do that like 3, 4, 5 times, 10 times to get where you really want to go. But the ceiling is so high if you're willing to just be consistent and put in the effort. Yeah. And I think that also like one of the benefits of running is that it will naturally like clean up other parts of your life. Like your diet and your sleep, because it will just demand a little bit more of you. And so if you care about that thing, you're like, well, I want to sleep more. I want to eat better because this fuel is going to make my run tomorrow feel better. And so it kind of reframes some basic core things that I think all of us really want to do, but it's kind of hard to drum up the motivation. Yeah. And if you're running consistently, it kind of naturally becomes the motivation of, I'm not going to do this because I want this to work out in a certain way. Yeah. But I'd say those are the two biggest ones, is consistency, I guess patience, you could throw that in there. Consistency, patience, and doing it not all the time with people. I don't think you have to always do it with people, but even if you could just like once a week. Yeah. Even if it's once a month, I think having a touch point with people that are trying to do something similar to yours is incredibly motivating. And it'll last with you. Like running, I mean, used to be Thursday mornings, running with those folks once a week on Thursday mornings, that motivation would totally carry me through a week of training. Yeah. Because it's like waiting to get back to that time again and getting, what have you done this past week? How did it go? Yeah.
I think in one of my higher mileage weeks, can't remember if it was the week before peak week or the week after, but my coach prescribed me a really heavy speed workout. Mm-hmm. I think it was like 10 by 800 meter repeats.
That's a lot. Yeah.
And I saw it and was like, no. Yeah. I just don't know if I can do it. But I called my friend Harper up and I just asked him, I was like, hey man, do you want to meet me at the track at like 5 a.m. tomorrow morning? I was like, I know it's like short notice and if you say no, it's fine. And he was like, yeah, man, why not? He was like, I'll just do it. Why not? Right. And he came and met me and we knocked those 10 repeats out and, it actually felt really good.
It's a game changer.
It's when you're with another person, you don't even know you're going 6:30 pace.
That's right.
And hurting your friend.
That's right. That's right. And also like a willingness, because I've definitely done that with folks that were, in a different part of a training block than I was. Yeah. Where I would go and do a part of what they're doing and then step out, step back in. Yeah. And it's great. All that's great. One of Aaron, again, back to Aaron, he ultra guy. I think he's done 100 Ks. I think that's probably the farthest distance that he's done. Mm-hmm. What a weenie, only 100 kilometers. But
come on. Turn that kilometers into miles.
Yeah, that's right. He will one day for sure. I paced him for the second half of the 100K in Bandera. And I was not particularly fit at the time. And he was super fit. But I was like, this guy's 30 something miles into a race. He's going to be tired enough that his like super fit is going to be down at my level of fit. Yeah. And because it's a 2-loop course, it's like 31 and change, whatever miles per loop. And he came in and he was looking okay, but not great. And so we took off, we're running and I'm trying to keep him motivated, chatting him up for a long time. He was not doing great. Yeah. It was getting worse and worse and worse. But then he rallied. I mean, the nature of like ultra marathons is that like, you can rally, feel terrible, rally again, feel terrible, rally again. Whereas the marathon is typically not that way. But
no, you don't have time.
Yeah. He rallied in a big way late where I was like, I'm getting dropped. I was just like, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah.
He was like, 50 something miles in, and I was like 20 something miles in, and I was like, it's over. But it was fine because I was like, I've done my thing, which is to like get you back moving again.
Sweet.
And he didn't. He was like, nah, it's not worth it. So we ran the whole thing in together. But it's also something that's very motivating is getting to participate in somebody else's journey where they're trying to do something really difficult. Just getting to step into that for a piece is like do that for other people. But that's going to happen. Like if you start to build a running community of sorts, where you see people out there, you're going to naturally want to do that for them, and it's very reciprocal where they'll because it's like anything when I try to describe it to people, because it's weird unless you've experienced it, it's tough to I think rationalize what's really going on. Like running marathon's hard, and it's like it's really hard. It is so uncomfortable. Like running a half marathon's hard. Running a marathon is more than twice as hard.
It's not just two halves.
Right. But when you get to like
the ultra space,
voluntary suffering is just it's its own unique thing. And when you connect with people that are doing voluntary suffering, it's kind of like souls touch a little bit. You're like, oh, you too.
You too.
So anyway,
cool.
Those would be the things. I think patience, consistency, and connecting with people. There's not many people I know that have like stayed in running that have done it only by themselves. I don't know that I know anybody that's really done
impossible
it
almost.
And
my last question is, you mentioned Aaron, but who should I bring on this podcast next? Want to keep this going? Aaron's a good one, but
so Aaron's good. I would say Aaron and his wife have been on a foster journey for a while. So they have fostered, I think, 3 different kids.
Wow.
In the past year, maybe. Yeah, it's fantastic. Super cool journey. However, the arc is like start training because life's kind of stable, and then foster baby goes back with mom or whatever. And then they get a new foster baby, and they've been taking babies. So then it's like training goes out the window. So he's not really got anything on the calendar. So if I was to recommend, I would pick somebody that is like got something on the calendar. I would say maybe Cody Carnett. He's been doing some ultra stuff that's pretty cool. He ran Bandera in January, and I think is intending to do it again.
Cody Carnett.
He's a pastor over at Trinity on Schmitzinski.
I go there. Not all the time, but Ambleside has concerts there. So
yes. He's a pastor over there. I'm sure you've probably crossed paths with him and maybe just didn't know. He would be a good one. This one would be a little bit tougher, but I'm gonna blank. Oh man, I wish I had my phone. Chase Janelle.
I've heard. Chasing Dreams, right? He's the guy who ran across Texas.
Yes,
I'd love to have him on.
Yes, he's a super cool guy as well. So he was
right now.
Yes, right. Myself and you're probably well aware of this. Cody also jumped in, and Aaron did as well.
I met him on
running through town. Yeah, right. And so we ran from a little bit off of 290 and went through Fredericksburg with him. He's also like super fast. He ran in high school here, ran in college.
You can run across Texas.
State,
you can be pretty fast.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, right. But he's like a 1:0 something guy in the half marathon. Yeah, he's really quick. I want to say, like I said, I think Angelo State was where he ran and got like pretty quick when he was running then, and still runs. A little bit of a younger guy, maybe 30, maybe still late 20s. I almost actually connected with him in Colorado this summer. He was up, I think he lives up around Boulder, and I was in Colorado Springs, and he was about to come to Colorado Springs, and we missed just barely. But he pops back into town around like holidays and stuff, and sometimes just periodically. So if you like
catch
see
him on the
him,
gram or something.
if you do, I would say he would be a cool one. He's done some really cool things like that. He was actually, I think, I don't know if it was his like only goal, but one of his goals of running across Texas was to try to like set the course record for that.
Yeah, Matthew Johnson had it. I guess.
Yes. Yeah. Which I think he was like within shouting distance of for a good chunk of time, and then towards the end, it was like, I mean, your body just starts to fall apart.
Yeah,
like the idea of like, I'll speed up. It's just like not really. It's like
body's like, no, it won't.
I'm going to take ibuprofen and stretch for 2 hours in order to walk.
Yeah,
kind of thing. So
That'd be a cool story to hear.
Yes, he would certainly have some great stories. There's some young guys who are pretty speedy.
Let's talk to Derek Adams.
Derek and Darius.
Yeah.
They run around together a lot. They'd be good ones as well.
Oh, I can have them both together.
You could. Yeah, that's what I would do. That's what I would do for sure. I don't know. It's kind of interesting to see young guys like that like both, if they choose to, could be wicked fast and do some really cool things.
Yeah.
But it's one thing to do it when you're young and then you get a job and you're like, I'm not doing this anymore. Huh. So who knows how long that will last, but both of those guys are cool guys.
Yeah.
As well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm coming after you guys, so
do it.
Look after
Ice bucket challenge.
Yeah. But
I'm sure I'll think of like a dozen other names too.
Just keep texting me.
Well, I was going to say you could. Well, that's a different world. Yeah, I could give you a list of. I'm thinking of now people that don't run often but have done some really cool things like Ironmans and Boston, etc. Yeah, I'm thinking about doing a half in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
With kind of the like. Dip the toes in the water and say like, how miserable is this?
Yeah.
And then maybe go do a full. There's a buddy. Do you know any of the Wyricks?
Yeah.
So Chris, I think I don't actually know Chris very well, but I know a bunch of his brothers from high school. And Brian, one of his younger brothers, was in 2 weekends ago and I ran across him at HEB and he's done a couple Ironmans. And he was like, hey, if I come to Ironman in Texas, will you do it with me? And I was like, yes. Maybe.
Yeah.
So you tell me and we'll see. That's a different animal.
Yeah.
I'm not a
marathon plus a 100-mile bike.
I can figure out the bike. I am not a swimmer.
Me neither.
So
I'm a survivor.
Yeah. That's a long way to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a rough start to a long day. To drown for like 2-point-something miles. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I've done a quarter once in Kerrville and it's fun, but that's not even close. Like in the same way that a half marathon does not scale to a full marathon, a quarter Ironman is not like, you're going to be out there all day for an Ironman.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for talking with me.
You're welcome. Thank you for doing this.
For the run and everything.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Whew. Thanks for joining me on this run through the Texas Hill Country. Keep showing up, keep listening, keep following along, because every runner has a story to tell.